Ще не вмерла України, ні слава, ні воля.
Hi, it's Jonathan, and welcome to another episode of Trident. Today I will publish a video about an event I went to on the 25th of April 2024. On that day, from 2 to 3:30 p.m., San Diego City College hosted an event in which a photojournalist from Ukraine, Iva Sidash, spoke about her work. Iva has been a photojournalist since 2021, and beginning in February 2022, she has been taking photographs from the ongoing Russian-Ukrainian war. Now, the San Diego City College World Cultures program, alongside a group called Medium Photo, has invited Iva to speak to us. In fact, Medium Photo's CEO, Scott Davis, would briefly speak to us. Hence, in this video, I'll show you Scott's introduction to Iva and then Iva's speech, and afterwards the questions that some people in the audience asked Iva. Now, let's begin with this video.
I'm going to introduce Scott Davis, the director of Medium Photo.
And hi to everybody. I may have been in one of your classes at one point. I really enjoy, as Amanda said, the opportunity to connect with the community. So I'm the founder of Medium Photo. We do a lot of things all year round, from film screenings at the Digital Gym downtown to educational workshops, and once a year we throw a giant party for photography. We call it a festival. It's happening right now. So, as Amanda said, our keynote speaker, Cara Romero, she's an indigenous photographer from the Chemehuevi Nation, which is in the Mojave Desert, and she'll be speaking tomorrow night. She'll be speaking tomorrow afternoon to all of you. So she's meeting with students in a more private setting, and then she's speaking about her own work in a very public setting, which is at the San Diego Central Library. So I'm here to introduce Iva Sidash, who is our speaker for this afternoon. And I met Iva yesterday, but I had met Iva online 2 years ago. And I have a very personal connection with Ukraine. I was brought to Ukraine by another photography festival in 2016, and it transformed my life because I learned that Ukraine is the hidden jewel of Europe. It is one of the most beautiful countries I've ever been to. I was really touched by the people there, and at the time they were at war with Russia, but most of the world didn't really acknowledge it as a war. They just acknowledged it as some little thing happening in a country that most people don't know much about. So I was there during that time, and of course since 2022, Russia has done everything they can to try and destroy this nation. And the opportunity to bring Iva here, who has been covering the front lines of that war as a photojournalist, was something that was very important to me. And so we hosted an online event with Iva when she was in Ukraine, still working actively there, which she will be working actively there again soon. We hosted an event online, and then lo and behold, here we are today, and Iva is in California with us to share her work, her life experience, and answer questions from all of you. So with that, please help me welcome Iva Sidash.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Amanda and Scott, for presentation. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for coming. I'm happy to talk about Ukraine. I'm happy to represent Ukraine, especially now when it is so important. So I will tell you a little bit about myself, about my work, and how it is connected to the war in my country. So I will start how it works. That's very fast. It don't work. No. Okay, I will just scroll. So this is Ukraine pictured on top of Europe. You can see it is a very big country, and this is not, as Scott mentioned, this is not the small local conflict which is happening now. This is a huge situation. Oh, that's not working. Okay, I can just speak loud if it's okay. Can I talk like this? So this is like really a huge thing which is happening right now in Ukraine, and I want to tell you two small stories about this. So right now I'm working on the project about wounded Ukrainian soldiers who came to New York for rehabilitation and prosthetics. And so I was writing like a couple of days ago, I was writing like a project statement about my work, and I asked my very good friend, he is native speaker, thank you so much, to like just check for some grammar errors, since English is not my native language. And I wrote in my project proposal the sentence, this project is devoted to those who hold this world in their hands. And I sent it to my very good friend for this revision, and he gives it to me back and says, this project is devoted to those who hold the world of all Ukrainians in their hands. And when I wrote that it's for those who hold the whole world, that's what I meant. Because I feel that, as I said, it's not local conflict anymore. And I have another short story. 2 years ago, I have been working in Kramatorsk. It's in Kharkiv region. This is like frontline city right now, and I have been working on assignments with another journalist, and we were interviewing soldiers, and we asked at the end, what is the war for you? And this soldier who is fighting and who is protecting the Ukraine says, this is not the war between Russia and Ukraine. This is war between democracy and totalitarian regime. And that's how he feels, soldier in Ukraine, that's how I feel, and I wanted to share it with you. So now, a couple of days ago, I was like just going back, scrolling my phone to the very first day of full-scale invasion 2 years ago, February 2022, February 24th, 2022, and I saw this image. It's one day before full-scale war. I remember this image. So this is, as you can see, a piece of burnt pizza, which I ordered in my favorite place. I love this pizza. I remember I was with my friend and I said, look, I know the best place where they make amazing pizza. So I ordered this and they delivered it to me burnt. And I feel I was so upset. I was like literally so upset for having this burnt pizza, because usually it's delicious. I shared it to my friends, and that's what I received. This is next day image in Lviv, in Ukraine, day of full-scale invasion. I went to the supermarket to buy some food, and there was almost like empty shelves in the supermarket. And then I was like scrolling back and forth between these images, first image of burnt pizza and second picture of this. So actually I didn't know I'm so concerned about food, but that's what I got. And the next image in my phone is this one. So it's me and my neighbor who lives one floor below me. We are hiding in the basement because of the rocket attacks and shellings which were happening on that night. And for me it was so strange and so weird to look again back and forth with these three images of burnt pizza, then empty shelves in the supermarket, and then this. And for 1 second I felt so stupid for this first picture, and then I realized I shouldn't be. It's totally fine to be upset because you didn't get the food you wanted. And I believe this day will happen again when I will be worried about burnt pizza and not for like life of my dear ones or my life. Now I will tell you finally about my photography. So it's me carrying this very heavy body armor, and honestly I haven't thought that I would wear this stuff, and it's not the best thing to wear. But from other side, it's something that really protects you and crucial for your life. Okay, so hard to scroll. Sorry. This is picture in Lviv. I'm from Lviv, and this city became like a host city for all Ukrainians because they were coming from eastern Ukraine to Lviv, then to Poland, and then to other countries. And when I came to the railway station, I was so surprised to notice like that my railway station, which I know for so many years, was like a total mess. People were like sleeping on the floor, they were like running across the platforms, trains were not moving. It was very weird. And then I saw this, the police who was carrying this disabled person with disabilities, and I remember I took this image, and then when I was looking at this, so like, in the evening, same evening, I thought that, okay, so what is the war when it's happening in your country with you? And for me, it's also about this, when people think about others, when people show like these gestures of love. For me, this is a gesture of love. Among all this chaos, you still see something that people care. And through my work, within like 2 years, I have been mostly focusing on these human things which I face and which I also witness of. Within the first days of full-scale invasion, I went to the border. As I told, it's like on the like the closest city to Poland, and there were so many people. Like they were on the border for like waiting for 20 hours. Mostly it was small children, it was older people. Men are not allowed to leave the country, so mostly it was like mothers with their children. And all these people, they didn't know where they're going. I remember I was talking to them, asking like, do you have relatives in Poland or in Germany, or where are you heading? And they said, no, we have no idea. We have just one backpack, and that's where we are going because we need to flee the country. And again, for me, it was something to think. I was trying to not just take pictures of these people, I was trying to listen to their stories, because I understand that every person carries its own stories, and in their like luggage, which like they are just going to unknown place, and what do they carry with them? So I took some of I was going to the border like for 1 week. It was like the most intense and most difficult situation back then, because no one was ready to face that reality we had. Then I realized that I'm telling like within like 2 months I have been focusing on refugees, on IDPs, internally displaced people, and I realized that I'm telling like the same story, which has been covered by other journalists, which has been covered by me, and I realized that okay, I should do something else. So after that, I went to Kharkiv, which is the most eastern city in Ukraine, which was back then and still is like the almost frontline city in the eastern Ukraine. And it was so funny because I have a lot of friends and they have been like in Kharkiv, and they have been moving from Kharkiv to Lviv, and like here is me, and I'm moving from Lviv to Kharkiv. And I have never realized, I have never thought I would like cover this war, and I would cover the war in general. But when it comes to you directly, and when you don't expect it, you understand. I understood that I want to do something. I want to be part of this history, which we create. And for me, it's important at least to do something for my people and for my country. And I don't know, when I will be old, like very old, I will be able to say I was there and I was doing something. Because for me, it's important not to stay aside and to help in any way possible. So I went to Kharkiv, which I love so much, because this is like, again, one of the biggest cities in Ukraine. I told Scott a couple of days ago, actually yesterday, that Kharkiv is like my second host city, which I love so much. And like my grandparents, my grandfather is from Kharkiv, and that's the city where my grandparents met. They were telling me like the places where they had their ice cream, their first dates. And for me, it was like such a personal experience, that the story they told me. So I was coming to Kharkiv like really a lot before full-scale war again. And actually there is another funny story, actually nice story. In February, right before full-scale invasion, like probably 1 week before that, I went to Kharkiv because Kharkiv is considered to be like this artistic city where all people gather together, just have fun. There are lots of nice galleries, and I mean, it's just like a city where you can live, especially when you are an artist. There are so many different artists around. So I went to the Kharkiv to meet my friends. I remember we were like just spending our 3 evenings in gallery. It was our friend, it's like his gallery. So we were just drinking wine, showing our pictures, talking about art. And then I came to Kharkiv again within just like couple of 2 months. And I came to a completely like different city with no electricity, no transport, a lot of old buildings, nothing was working. For me, it was like I came to some dead city, which I never saw before in my life. And then I realized, no, this is my city where I was a couple of weeks ago drinking wine and having a great time with my friends. So for me, it was very new experience. Okay, I'm sorry for scrolling so fast. I have spent in Kharkiv, like in total, I was living like for 2 cities, in Lviv, where I was trying to have some rest, and in Kharkiv, where I was, again, it's not possible to have rest even in Lviv, because we have these shellings and rocket attacks all the time across all Ukraine. But still, going to Kharkiv and working there, for me, it was absolutely new experience, how you talk to people who face death every day, how you photograph them. And I realized that when you photograph people in such vulnerable moments, it's very important to keep this empathy and to show them that you understand them. Like, I'm on the same page with you. I'm also from here. I know what you're going through. And that actually helped me to build much bigger trust with my heroes of my projects, which I will show you. And I also wanted to tell you about this picture, because for me it is such a difficult but important picture to remember. I was working also like on assignment with other journalists, and so we were working with Ukrainian military, and we went here, we had some like shooting places where we can photograph what is happening, and this is basically like very close to front line. And these 3 tanks, this is actually probably the last tank, there was 3, and they are Ukrainians, of course. And so I was like staying here, taking pictures, and they were like passing by me. And all of the soldiers who were like sitting there, 2 of them, and they were like waving me and like smiling to me. It was like such a nice moment. And I knew that these 3 tanks with 6 people are going to the front. And we never know if they come back. But they were going and smiling and waving me like, we are fine, like we are going, but we're here with you. And then, like in 3 days, we were going with the same team of journalists in a car, again listening music. Usually when we go, like it's so funny, but the closer you go to the front line, the more like the lighter music you listen. It was like really very interesting song, very funny, very childish song. We were like having fun, actually going very close to the front line. And in a second, the driver was talking over the phone. Someone called him, and then he put his phone and said that do you know like these 3 tanks we were photographing? And I said, yes, what? He said, only one came back. And for me, I keep thinking about this and about huge efforts and huge bravery that the soldiers have. And every day they face death and they risk their life for us to be able to live. And for me, that's something to remember and to remember forever. Everyone likes it, so. And this is woman from, also this is actual pictures from Kharkiv, and this is woman, she was living in North Saltivka. This is like the biggest residential district in Kharkiv. And it's like huge. It's like usually a city is of this how to say. So it's a big district. And actually this district is very close to Russia. And within very like few hours, when the full-scale war began, Russia began attacking this district very much, and almost all the buildings in this district are destroyed. And this is the woman in her destroyed apartment, showing me where she used to live. I lost the mouse. This is also a picture I wanted to show you and to tell a little bit. So this is Ukrainian scene, which is called, it's like Christmas. In Ukraine we have such a tradition for Christmas. We gather together in small groups and play the scene of when the Christ was born. And this is like, so a group of Ukrainian volunteers across the whole Ukraine, they decided to go to eastern Ukraine to destroy cities and to show this small Christmas place and to sing carols, and again to show that even among all these distractions they wanted to support those who stayed there. And I remember we spent like 4 days there in different cities, and people who were living there still with children, they were just like coming, crying and saying thank you so much for coming, and it means so much for us. And again, such a small gesture, but now these small details mean so much for us. Just another reminder to appreciate small things. This is another, okay, I'm not showing you a lot of pictures and I'm speaking mostly, but this is the stories which I do want to share with you because they mean so much for me. So this is a village in Kharkiv region, Shestakova. which was recently, back then when I was photographing this, which was recently liberated by Ukrainians. It was occupied by Russians for like 3 months. And so no one could go to this village because it is very close to Russia, and especially the road we are crossing to this village is very close. Of course, there's everyday shellings, but the road which we took is like Russians could see us and could reach us with artillery. So it was hard to go to this village, and most like photojournalists and journalists couldn't go there. And how I managed to go, I joined with my friends and the volunteers. They go to such villages with humanitarian help. So that's the way I managed to come and to meet these people, and I'm so happy. I do understand I was also risking my life, but for me, like, I'm doing this for something. I want to tell the stories of those people whom this world like wouldn't see otherwise. And we went to the city, to this very like destroyed village where like probably 20 people stayed because again shellings every day, no heating, no electricity, nothing there. And we went. I remember the first thing, so there was like person who saw us, and the first phrase he told like, "Look, it's people," and for them it was so weird to see others. Because for 3 months they didn't see anyone from Ukrainian side. And so we came and we gave all the humanitarian help, like water, first aid, medicines, food, such stuff. And we gave it to different families, and then the guy says, there is another woman, she lives on her own in semi-destroyed building, probably you want to see her. And by that time, we gave all our products, all the food we had. So, but we said, okay, probably we definitely want to see her. So I remember we came to her house. It was me, 2 and 3 volunteers. And she was actually like staying and, harvesting grass or collecting grass. And we came to her asking like, hey, like we are volunteers, photojournalists, we want to talk to you. And she said, oh, of course, let's talk. And she told us different stories. Like, for example, one of the stories is that when Russians came, they bombed all of the city, almost all of the buildings. So she was living in the house with no windows. And she was living on her own. She told me that her son came for a couple of days just to put some fabric on the window to be able to stay warm, and how the dog started to bark before another rocket attack. And then she said, so I was harvesting this grass and for like my chicken, and at the end she said, oh, you know, I'm so sorry, I have nothing to give you. And we were like, what? Because we were sorry, we had nothing to give her, and we understood she needed so much. So 2 volunteers, 2 friends with whom I came, they just gave her some water and like helped with some household. And that's it. So we felt horrible because like she needed it the most and we didn't give her anything. But again, she was saying like, I'm so sorry, I have nothing to give you. It's just like Ukrainian hospitality. And we were like staring at her, and then she said, oh, you know what, but I have eggs from my chicken, so I will give you eggs. And I was like so surprised, and it was so nice. That person that has almost nothing was trying to give us at least something. And for me, it was not something, it was so huge. Of course, we didn't take it, but these words and this desire to give something. And for me, like, this is the stories we need to tell, and this is the stories why we need to fight and keep fighting every day, because this is for them, for those people who, despite of everything, show how big love can be. This is small series which I did also in Kharkiv. This is actually residents from north-south Saltivka, which I told you. And within first hours when the shelling began, so these people, without anything, actually, yes, first hour, Russia began attacking the city, and they told me. So they, at 5 a.m., they just took their clothes and went to the basement. This is people living in the subway. They have been living in subway for 3 months and without anything, because they were afraid even to go home to take stuff. So people were living in the subway, and it was also very. It's very hard to spell, I'm sorry. And I was talking to them, and they were so friendly. They were like, again, I was struggling because it was probably one of the first serious projects I've done in the beginning, and it was hard for me, like, how to talk to these people who lost a lot. And I feel that when we talk about portraiture, it's not a photographer who is making a picture. It's about a person who is giving you a picture. And for me, it's very important to set this connection with people and to show my support. Because I remember when I was, for example, on this border, which I showed you, I felt so bad. I was like with my camera, taking pictures of people, and I felt so bad. Do I need to do this? I just wanted to hug them, and that's it. But then I realized that, okay, I cannot help all of these people, but probably my camera can. And that's what gives me this courage and desire to work in this field and to proceed working and to do something in order to tell their stories. And usually people are very open when they feel they can trust you and they want to tell you the stories. So these people were living in the subway, as I told you, for 3 months. I wish I have more pictures now. It was such an interesting space because they were living in the platform, and some of them were living in the train. Of course, train were not running. But again, everyone could occupy the spot they wanted. But they, of course, they gave mothers with small children to possibility to live in the train, where it's a little bit, it's not that cold, and others were living just in the platform. Then there's another project which I did, which is called Holding Hope. I was traveling across Kharkiv and Donetsk region, across villages which had been occupied by Russians and which had been liberated by Ukrainians. And I asked people to write memory of the time when they were under occupation. And it was, for first time, people were looking at me and saying no, we don't want to write. What we can write, we have nothing to share. But then I explained, I am doing this project in order to have it as an evidence, because I do believe that photography serves as a huge tool of evidence. And they didn't want to write anything. So I spent a lot of time with them just talking, again, telling about myself, again, setting this connection. And after that, they would say, oh, okay, maybe I can write you 1 sentence. But most of them, when they started writing, they couldn't stop. And I was asking, write 1 sentence, 2 sentences, whatever you want. And I have one person who wrote 3 pages. And he didn't want to do this at all in the beginning. And he was saying, I have nothing to share. And that was such a great testimony of what was happening. And for example, here, he says that, so I asked to share any memory you want, and he wrote that, so when I went outside, I saw that Ukrainians were entering my village, liberated the village, And I was so happy, so I took Ukrainian flag, I came to them and said, Slava Ukraini, glory to Ukraine. And he started saying something else in Ukrainian, and they were like soldiers from International Legion. And like they didn't speak Ukrainian even. And he said it was so funny, but anyway, great memory. This is a girl from Mariupol, which is still occupied. She managed to flee within the first days of full-scale invasion, and I also asked her to do whatever she wants, and she painted. Here he is saying that how important is to be free, and how important is to do whatever you want, because when you're under occupation, unfortunately, you're very limited. Here I want to tell you about another Maya project, which is called Farther Along the Road. It's very difficult for me to pronounce in English. In my photography, I'm trying to combine personal experience and documentary approaches. For me, like, it's very important that to show that photography can be very different, and sometimes it helps people, sometimes it helps me. And for me, this is like very self-reflective project. I remember when I was small, like age 4, 5, 6, 7, we were going with my parents and my sister to Crimea. So from Lviv to Crimea, it took like 1,020 kilometers. I don't know how it will be in miles, but it's very far. And we were always going by car, so it was like small road, long road trip for the whole family, because you, of course, the whole year you are working hard, and this is like 1-2 weeks of vacation for my parents and possibility to be all together. I loved that holiday, so every year we were going to Crimea, to the sea. But honestly, the best part for me was always this road, because we were always taking the car, or we were going by car. I remember my mother was making like the bed in the, how you say, front seats, back seats, on the back seats, and we were just laying with my sister and like fighting over leg because it's hard to fit for both. So it was like a different, interesting, funny stories, and this was actually the road we took. And also I remember that why I like this, my father always wanted to be very fast in order to get to Crimea, to like, when it's not too dark, because we were going with camp, and it's important when you have tent to set it when you can see at least something. And usually, so my father was in hurry, we were always wanted to go outside from the car, he was always like, not like saying, come on, we need to go, and then he was always trying to find the shorter way, and then we were always lost, sleeping somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and it was like really amazing memories, but at the end we go to the sea and we have this amazing time together. So I took the same road, of course, not that far, and for me, I was questioning myself, what is this road silent about? What is the story behind every burnt car, behind every burnt tree, ruined billboard, ruined buildings? And because that's the road I usually take when I go somewhere to photograph, as for now in the eastern Ukraine. Unfortunately, we have a lot of roads which are destroyed. And again, going back in my memories to my childhood, and then facing this, I question myself what I had and what I don't have anymore. But again, I would love to. It's again the same. We are back to the slice of pizza. I would love to be upset because of burned slice of pizza. And this project for me was kind of was an opportunity to reflect on what is this road now. What does it mean for me? Because usually when I'm taking this road, when I'm photographing, this is the way when I can have some rest, especially when we go to some closer locations to the front. Of course, you face danger, and of course, I'm also afraid. And when you go on this road, you never know if you come back. But from the other side, you're in the car, and this is a safe place because you feel that you are somewhere inside, and you're usually with someone, and I'm usually with other journalists or with my friends. And it's so great just to be together, and even such time is important. And I want to finish with this picture because it's like flowers, and this is like symbolic for me. And that's it. Thank you so much for your attention.
So we have time for questions. Anybody have a question?
Hello. I want to ask about your feelings when you're taking photographs, and how does that make you feel as a person? So, for example, Sebastiano Salgado, famous photographer, he was a photojournalist, and he captured, terrible moments in human history, right? He even said, like, "Oh, I'm ashamed of being human." Right? The stuff he captured, and that made him sick, right? And so, I want to ask, how are you? Yeah.
Thank you so much for this question. I feel that's the best question I've ever had, and especially about how are you. Now in Ukraine, how are you became a very symbolic phrase. Now how are you means like it's like in Ukrainian yakty, which means like how are you really? How are you? And usually we ask these questions to our friends in Facebook or other social medias when we have rocket attacks across Ukraine to different cities. And that's usually the first question we write to our friends, how are you? And usually when we have this question, because I know that here, when you ask people, how are you, you don't even answer this. But in Ukraine, when you have this how are you? We need to respond to what we really feel. So I would like to respond to what I really feel. Sometimes it is hard to look at these images, and sometimes it is hard to make these images. But when I think that it may help at least someone, I had like not a lot of, but I had such situations when people were just coming to me and saying like, thank you for telling this, and recognizing like with my pictures some people they know. And for me this small thank you means so much, and I'm doing this not just for myself, I'm doing this for others and for history. And when people admit this, for me that's important, and that's much more important than just having this feeling of like heart feelings which you have. Because apart from that, I have feelings that I'm doing something at least I can. But thank you so much, it was an amazing question.
Thank you very much for sharing your story. I personally very appreciate it because I fled Ukraine a week after the full-scale invasion. My question is how you approach your heroes that you choose to photograph, and what is the talk you give them for that first interaction? Thank you.
Where are you from?
I'm from Haidesh, Poltavska Oblast.
Nice. Thank
What's
you for
it?
the question. I would say that at the first it was very hard to approach people because I didn't know like how to approach them. I felt like some kind of like it's not right time. Maybe I shouldn't talk right now. Because I remember, for example, a very hard photo shoot I had. I was photographing in the front line. It was actually the closest village to the front line. It's basically the front line. And I met a couple, older couple, and she was like saying, sometimes the people think that we journalists can do magic. And sometimes they think, oh, we will show you how horrible we live, and tomorrow, like, you will help us. Unfortunately, we cannot help everyone, but of course we try. And so she said, like, come to us, come to our yard, I will show you where we live. And she was crying so hard because there was just another attack that ruined her house. And she was crying, and I was like taking pictures of her crying. And I felt so guilty for the first because like it's hard to take picture when someone is crying and telling you this story. But from another side, after that I was publishing these pictures and people wanted to help this couple. I hope they helped. I gave the contact, and for me like that's what I could do. And after that I realized that how to approach them. Usually when I say them that I'm with you, I'm from here, I do feel your pain, because I do feel your pain. They begin to trust me. And when I have this trust, when they see that I don't want to harm them, and I don't want to, usually, actually never. I never take a picture and go. Usually I go, I talk to them before, or I talk to them after. And this gives me and them time to set some kind of connection, and to usually like they say, oh, maybe you want to take more pictures of me or something, and that's what helps, time. I try to give them my time, and then they give me their times and their stories. And when they see that there is a person who cares, they want to share the story, as long as they see that you really care.
Hello. I think your work's amazing. I think what you're doing is a beautiful thing. I wanted to ask, did you have what was your mindset before you went? What was it before and what was it after? What did you go in and what did you take away?
Do you mean before?
Before you went to do your work. But did you have anything in mind? How did you prepare yourself when you were going there?
I would say that, do you mean like for first time when I went to the front line to photograph, or?
When you were flying there, or like when you were going there, like how did you feel inside while you were on your way there?
Yeah, so I don't fly because we don't have any planes there as for now, but yeah, that's a good question, because if I'm in Lviv, it takes me like one day or one night in a train or in a car to go to the eastern Ukraine. And I have a lot of time to reflect and to think. And I would say that I don't remember what do I think when I go there. But I do remember that, especially after first times when I was going back, I felt so bad. I remember I was going in a train and I was crying so hard, and I couldn't even explain why. And for me, like, it was so annoying, like, why you're crying. And I felt like so guilty, like I saw so many horrible stories, but why, like, I'm, like, it's not me who should cry. But again, then I realized it's totally fine, because yeah, I face it and I feel it and I'm with them. And for me, I would say that when I go there, and now when I leave, I'm trying to be prepared and to understand that I'm taking this course personally, but I also should understand that I'm working and I need to act professionally. when there is something happening. That's why like I'm taking a lot of trainings before to go there, like, much more than needed. And then I think this feeling of getting ready to whatever can happen helps me to stay more prepared and more focused on the story. Also in the beginning I was so like, I couldn't focus. I was like photographing everything. But for me it doesn't work like this anymore, because you cannot photograph everything. It's much better to focus on the detail and to tell this detail but fully. And I would say that now that helps me when I go there, I know exactly what I want to photograph and where I go. And where I go back, I also allow myself to have some rest and to understand that I need to have some rest in order to go again. Yeah.
I was curious about where else you're going to share your work and how you do that. And also, I think I wanted to just observe that I think it's really important that you're here sharing it in person. Because I've heard a lot of stories and news reports and things on the radio and TV, but this is such a different level. And it really, you feel the connection with the people you photographed and hearing their stories. So thank you.
Thank you so much for the feedback. Actually, there is exhibition here on the first floor. I hope you saw it. And tomorrow there will be a reception from 3 till 5. I will be there, so I would love to talk more. You're welcome to come. And also there will be another talk on Saturday as a part of the festival. Also, I'm in New York now, and I'm having the exhibition there at ICP. This is International Center of Photography, and this exhibition will be for 3 months. So if you go by any chance to New York, you can go to ICP and see more of my work. And I'm trying I'm working with different publications, and that's like how I'm trying to reach the wider audience. But I do agree that it's much more when you speak in person and you feel the person. And yeah, so tomorrow I will be here. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Dia. I just want to say your photography is very powerful and there's so much emotion into it. I come from Mexico, and so I came here as a refugee, and just seeing your photos, I was able to see just a lot of the pain and the injustices on your people, and I just could not stop crying when I saw the photo of the little girl with the unicorn, because I have a little daughter and she loves unicorns. So just seeing that, and just, wow, it's like the same time, same era, but there's just all this injustices, all this war and hate on your country, and I'm just so sorry that you are all going through that, but your photography is really doing a lot of positive things, bringing light, and like you said, you know, that you believe that photography is you know, used as a tool for
evidence?
for evidence, and I will be showing your photography to my children. But yeah, thank you for doing your work, and I'm looking forward to continuing to follow your work.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
I just wanted to know, you thrust into this environment of having to be a press photographer for your country and your people. If none of that happened, what would you enjoy photographing?
What I would photograph?
What would you enjoy photographing?
I would say that I enjoy photographing people and telling their stories. And for example, before full-scale war, I have been working on a long-term project about my aunt, who has very difficult life. She was taken care of like the whole life. She was working in railway, and like back then in USSR, it was like really very great position to work. She was traveling across the country, all over, and she had like really very prestigious job. And every time she was coming back to her village and taking care of her 2 men, her father who was getting blind with times, and her brother who was addicted to alcohol. And that's how she devoted her life. And then they died, and she, before that, like at 43 years old, she married Ivan, the man from neighboring village, and he has mental disability. And at the same time, she became his wife and his guardian. And that's what I was doing. I was still telling stories with my photography, but about just one family. And in my photography, I wanted to understand why she's living this life like this. And I understood a lot. And for me, I think I would proceed working on such projects about people and about their life. That's what I enjoy.
Is that on your website?
Yes. It's called Stefania. It's a very personal project, so you're welcome to see. Thank you.
I'm going to sneak in a question. I'm wondering what your training was. Were you training to be a photojournalist, or more broadly, like a fine art photographer? Or, because what's I think really interesting about your work is it really spans a lot of genres in photography, and it tells stories in many different ways. So I'm wondering how you got there.
Thank you for noticing this. That's what I enjoy in photography, to be on the edge, to be somewhere in between. And I was, before the full-scale war, I have been working as a photojournalist in the Ukrainian media, the Ukrainians. So basically, the most of my skills I got from the work. And then it was a lot of trainings, but not in terms of photography, but in terms of self-defense and how you call them, HIFAT training for first aid help. But if we talk about photography, now I'm enrolled in a one-year program at ICP in New York, International Center of Photography, where we do discover this world from different angles and different perspectives. That's what I like. And for me, this is the biggest training I got so far. But since I feel that we just need to experiment, and we should just need to be open to do whatever we feel is right. And as long as we have something to say with this, what we're doing, I think it works trying different aspects. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I feel it's much better to not just to be on the same place, but to walk. And for me, the photography is this journey which I'm working.
Actually, I had a question similar about what you were doing now or how your work brought you here, but you kind of answered that already. But you said you're going back to Ukraine, right, in a couple of weeks. I guess I'm wondering, what is bringing you back there, making you want to continue your work? If you've established yourself in New York, or do you have your family there still, or is it just a want to work in the area?
Thank you for the question. I would say that, I want to come back to Ukraine because I want to work there. And yes, my family is there, my friends are there, I miss them so much. I would love to see them and to spend time with them too. But I feel that now, especially after this 1 year of reflection, of self-reflection, of getting new knowledges, new perspectives, I want to go to Ukraine even more to work there. And usually people say it's so weird, you're in New York, in the city of everything. You can do here so much stuff with your photography. But I feel that I can do much more now in Ukraine because it is what I think is important for me, and I hope not only. And I have in mind, I want to come back to Ukraine and to proceed working in the eastern Ukraine. To work on long-term projects. And right now, actually, I'm working, since I'm in New York, it was very hard for me to come to US and to leave all my parents and all my friends there. And so, but still, I came here and what I'm doing. I found the people, this is Ukrainian soldiers, who came to US for rehabilitation, as I told you. And so I'm working with them, I'm making projects about them. And I got really great connection with them, and they also go back to Ukraine. They want to proceed fighting as for now, and that's like what we say to each other, like see you very soon somewhere in the front when I'm saying goodbye at JFK airport. And so they want to proceed fighting, and so do I, in a different way. And I think that I would love to follow them as my heroes whom I photographed here, and they are very open to that. So this is another part which I would like to work on.
Hello. Have you ever had a photo that you've taken that you have not shared before, and since the conflict, right? And when you are taking these photos, which ones do you choose? That what do you think? How do you choose which photos you wish to share? And have there been some that you feel are too much or you don't wish to share?
Actually, I'm trying to share everything what I photograph because I'm trying to point my camera on something important, and when I'm photographing it, it means something why I'm doing this. I had one picture which I was very in doubt should I share or not. It was in like somewhere in Kharkiv region, and there was like a lot of Russian tanks and burned Russians. And I took that picture, and I didn't know should I show that or no. What is the point of showing this picture? But at the end, I still shared the picture because for me, as a photojournalist, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to tell the story. And for me here, I'm also trying to be objective and to show what I see with my eyes. And that was what I saw. And I'm sorry if it's like hard to see. I mean, but that's what I decided. Yeah, I need to share it. But I had a couple of minutes of doubts. So that's a good question. Thank you.
I thought it was very interesting when you made the decision to have your subjects kind of caption or tell their stories from the photo. Can you kind of tell us how you came to that idea to start asking subjects to caption or write stories?
I was trying to find some other. I wanted to find other ways to tell the story, and here I was questioning myself a lot. What does it mean to live under Russian occupation? I have never lived under occupation, I'm so lucky, but a lot of Ukrainians did, and a lot of Ukrainians still live under the occupation. So for me, it was, I think the point was when I was working with some organization, Ukrainian organization, and we were taking pictures, or we were writing a story about humanitarian help in frontline villages. And the guy who was from that village and who was under occupation, he started sharing a lot of personal stories which I never heard before, and not just as from the perspective of Ukrainian, but perspective from the person itself. And for me, that was something so new, because we read a lot in social medias and in medias in general what is happening, but usually it's mostly general picture of what is happening. And with this, I wanted to show the personal picture of what is happening. What does this person feel when he or she was under occupation? And actually, I need to translate this. Actually, every story which they wrote is something I never heard before. So, for example, this is the most interesting story for me, but I need to start translating this to English. This guy said that when the first days the Russians occupied his village, he wanted to help Ukrainians somehow, so he was sitting next to the window in the morning. He was writing on the paper, he was calculating how many Russian tanks were passing. It's very valuable information. And he was calculating this, sitting very far from the window, but in the distance to see. And he was calculating that, and then he had a friend, that's what he wrote here. And he has a friend that he's working in like Ukrainian defense, yeah, how to say this in English, and he was passing this information through his phone to this guy, and it was super helpful. And he said that in the morning I was sitting next to the window and writing, calculating how many Chinese were in my village, and in the evening I was burning this paper because if someone finds this, like, they would just kill him. And he knew that, and he's only 20 years old. And for me, like, he's such a hero. And he didn't even want to write anything. Like, it took me probably like 20 minutes to say, like, please try to do something, because he told me a lot in person, and he was, I have nothing to share. But at the end of the day, he did, and it is so important for me. And for me, like, that's, I feel what photography can do also. Like, it's so huge. It's a huge tool. And we need to know to discover different ways of showing with our pictures what photography can do and what we can say with this.
I was just wondering, what was the best piece of advice that you want to give to anybody who wants to do photojournalism or the type of photography that you do?
Maybe, because I had a question too. Sorry, but it ties into this. When we think of a photojournalist in our mind, I'm not sure that we would picture you. You know, so I think it's an incredible lesson for us to know that anybody can do this, but what does it take to do it, right?
I would say that if you want to do the work, any work, you need to understand why. If you can answer yourself why you are doing this, then you can do this, because you have this inner motive which means something. Because I know a lot of people who are like, oh, okay, I will be a war photographer, it's so like, you know, and then they went to the front line once and they, oh no, it's not my thing, I don't want to do this, which is totally fine. But I mean, before doing such stuff, you need to answer a question yourself, why do you want to do this? And if you have the answer, then take trainings, feel the responsibility, because you should take a lot of responsibility. And if you are ready for this, then I feel you can do this.
I just wanted to thank you so much for sharing your work and for sharing your thoughts today. I think this has been really powerful for all of us. And I just want to remind everybody that we're having a reception. Well, first of all, there's the exhibition, right? A lot of you, I think, have already seen it. It's on the 5th floor of the B building across the street. But the reception for that is tomorrow from 3 to 5 p.m. So you can come at 2 and meet with Kara Romero, and then come to the reception from 3 to 5. So, and that is V building across the street, 5th floor. Thank you all for coming, and thank you so much again.
Heroyam Slava! Around 2 minutes later... Hello! It is Iva. I'm Jonathan. I recorded every second of your lecture. I myself actually have a YouTube channel, which many of my videos I've made nowadays are actually about Ukraine as well.
Nice.
I probably have some ancestors from Odessa.
Thank you.
And some of my friends are most certainly from Ukraine. Take a card.
Sure, I will. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I just noticed your necklace.
Yes.
It is in the shape of Ukraine.
Right. It is. Thank you. It's very attentive.
You're welcome. And by the way, I actually have my own necklace here.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet.
Thank you. I bought it at an event hosted by the House of Ukraine, which is actually a local organization here. which, aside from hosting its own building over in Balboa Park, also hosts rallies in Balboa Park during the weekends.
That's great.
I bought this from there as well as a few other stuff. And I even have stuff that I got for Christmas and events not for. My dad got me these for Christmas. There's a Ukrainian flag lapel pin here, and Ukraine alongside the flag of Russia's pro-Ukraine movement. Some of which are actually even part of the International Legion itself.
Thank you for your support. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And this will be my next episode of my series about Ukraine, which I fittingly called Trident.
Great. Good luck.
And thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Good luck to you too.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And don't forget to stop by one of our rallies in Balboa Park.
Yeah, okay.
We have a Facebook page about the House of Ukraine.
Okay, thank you.
It is nice to meet you,
Nice
Eva.
to meet you too. Bye.
And now you have seen Iva Sidash's speech at San Diego City College. Overall, I enjoyed that speech as well as my conversation with Eva. In fact, we are now friends on Facebook. I would like to thank Eva for giving this presentation, as well as Medium Photo and the San Diego City College World Cultures program for hosting her. Furthermore, I would like to thank Power Director, a video editing program, for not sponsoring this video, but providing a free version of their software. Because that free version existed, in that last scene, I was able to censor the face of a certain friend that wanted me to hide her face. Lastly, I would like to thank you for making it this far. If you want to check out more of Eva's work, you can go to ivasidash.com to view her albums, or follow her on Facebook and Instagram as I have done. I hope you found this video informative. If you did, subscribe to this channel and stay tuned for future episodes of this series. For now, I'm Jonathan Lombardi, and this has been Trident.
Ще не вмерла України, ні слава, ні воля. Ще нам, браття українці, усміхнеться доля. Згинуть наші горіченьки, як роса.